A Portrait of Francis Bacon, 1952, by the British artist Lucian Freud, all on copper, whereabouts unknown. I think I'll just add a little bit more to this study that I've been doing. To paint a study of a famous painting is a great way to learn how the painting was made and how it works visually. Hello and welcome to a first of a new series of videos on how to paint. This one is how to paint like Lucian Freud. Lucian Freud was a great artist known for his portrait paintings. Some of his early portrait paintings he used a copper plate, and that is what I'll use now. So I'm going to use oil paint on a copper plate. Freud would draw out the basic shapes of the subject, looking carefully at the person that he was drawing, and then he would slow right down and paint individual brush marks. By making a copy of a painting, you can learn a tremendous amount about how a great artist uses simple, elegant brush marks to represent not just the tone and colour that they see, but also to create a strong sense of mood, which creates an emotional impact when the viewer looks at the painting. For Lucian Freud, I think he had a great desire to recreate what he could see, not just to make a copy or a likeness, but to make or remake the actual real thing. As with very many great artists, he was very curious to understand how things really were. For this painting, Lucian Freud used a limited palette, a palette of colours which aren't a wide range. He used greens within the skin tone. That often helps create a sense of mood by not using all the colours that you can see in skin, but emphasising just one aspect of what you can see. Lucian Freud had the ability to simplify what he saw. In his paintings, he would often start in one small area, for example an eye or the side of a cheek, and then from that one individual point, he would expand the paint out, so the finished painting emerged over a long period of time of this acute observation of flesh and muscle. He painted each mark as if it was the finished mark, and I don't think he went back into his paintings very often. He liked to finish them in one area and then expand out from this area. By making a copy of an artist's work, it's a bit like almost getting in their head and discovering why they made the decisions that they did in the painting that we can all see. It becomes almost self-evident why various tones and colours are where they are, because by copying his work, I find that I understand why he made all the choices that he did to make this painting such a great portrait. He was very interested in noticing and understanding small passages of light, a twitch in a muscle on a face, and he would try to translate this precise observation into pure paint, so the paint becomes the muscle. As I see how this painting develops, I start to make more connections between one area and another, and sometimes the brush mark can blend in sort of wet on wet, one colour into another, and sometimes it's just a brush mark is placed on top of another brush mark. So in this area here of the eye, some of the area is quite blended and looks a little smudged, and other areas you can clearly see the individual brush marks. And I think this combination of an individual approach to brush marks with some blending of brush marks as well, where the oil paint has a little bit of linseed oil in, well at least that's what I'm using, just to make it smooth and so it can blend in when I want it to, and it can stay separate brush marks also when that's needed too. Oil paint is traditionally thinned with turpentine. You can nowadays buy oil paint that you can thin with water, but turpentine is the traditional way. And then if you want to make it thicker, you can just use it straight out of the tube, or you can add linseed oil to make it even thicker than that. Because he painted so slowly, in this video I'm only going to do a small area, but this is a painting of his friend of the time, who was a fellow artist, Francis Bacon, and Francis Bacon influenced Lucian Freud very much. Particularly, I think, perhaps in his sense of enabling paint to be the message and using paint in a physical way. And their friendship and maybe rivalry is perhaps shown in this image of a portrait of Francis Bacon. it has an interesting history too, because this portrait was painted from life, looking at his friend Francis Bacon. But in 1988, I think it was stolen, and now nobody knows where it is. It's an unknown image. We don't know where it is anymore. So it has a eerie quality as being such a fascinating portrait, which must exist somewhere, I hope, but has never been discovered. So it's sort of trapped in time. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you find it useful in your own sort of appreciation of art and how and why paintings exist. Please subscribe to this Canvas channel for many more art videos, including more in the series How to Paint Like. My name's Tom McPherson. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.